So let's talk about the basics of the nunchaku, or nunchucks, or whatever people are calling it these days. Most people, when they see me do a nunchuk demonstration, the question is always, how do you prevent yourself from getting hurt? I usually suggest that you get yourself some elbow pads. Most people think, oh, you're gonna hit yourself in the head with those things. More often than not, you're gonna hit yourself in the elbow, and there's not a whole lot of padding on here, so if you're a first-time student, you might want to invest in some elbow pads. Or you might want to start with this, rubber nunchuck, so I can actually hit myself in the head and not really hurt. Okay, I winced a little bit, but I could not do that with my actual pair of nunchuck. However, I didn't start with these because you see people doing nunchuck at competition with rubber nunchuck, and they're doing all this stuff like Now, even if you don't know anything about nunchuck, you know that it's much harder to do those moves with this than it is with this. So I decided I would start with real nunchucks. And yes, I did get hurt quite often. Was it a good idea? Was it worth it? Well, let's see what I say about that in about 10 years. But if you're really worried about getting hurt with the nunchuck, start with these. If you're willing to try these, get some elbow pads. You will thank me for that later. Okay, let's talk about the type of nunchuck you could use once you move past the plastic or rubber nunchuck. Should you use something like this, a traditional style nunchuck? Or should you use something that has a chain on it? Personally, I prefer the chain, but not because of the techniques. The only problem with the traditional nunchuck that I've found is this. Yeah, this is gonna happen one way or another. Yes, you can replace it, yes, you can repair it, but it keeps on happening. And imagine what happens at a tournament or a demonstration. You go up there, ready to demonstrate your awesome nunchuck kata. You start doing it, and all of a sudden one of these breaks, and your nunchuck flies into the stands, or the audience, or an instructor. Yeah, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Do not let that happen. If you're using a string nunchuck, before you do any exercise or any kata, you gotta do that. Tug them. Make sure they're not gonna go apart on you. For the traditional style nunchuck, you wanna grab towards the bottom. Don't put your thumb here, don't put your finger here to reinforce. You're only gonna end up getting hurt. You may not be able to swing it as fast as you want, but from a practical standpoint, this weapon is good because of its surprisingly long range. A less traditional style, for something that's flashy, you probably wanna grab towards the middle. And everything is very tight. You're not really worried about getting full range of motion, but you are worried about being nice and fast and flashy and doing all this tricky stuff. Don't ever grab towards the top. You might be thinking, oh, look how fast I can swing this thing. Trust me, it's only gonna be a matter of time before you hit yourself with this. So now you wanna start swinging this thing, right? Well, some people are intimidated by starting with figure-8 swings, even though they're very important. So I suggest that you get into a good stance, keep the nunchuck tucked under your arm, and just practice doing this. Flick it out, and catch it underneath in your armpit. Now, you're gonna notice that you better be wearing sleeved shirts. Don't wear sleeveless, you will regret it. Just keep doing that, because this forms the foundation for moves like this, and all kinds of crazy stuff.